Yeah, that's right. So this will be the second match of the night, but the first match that we see a newly added team to the GPL. I always don't know what to call it. I want to call it a new blood. But the newly added team to the GPL, let's see if they can get their first win of the night, or will Legends, the Singapore Malaysian team, be able to upset one of the Taiwanese powerhouses? I don't think the fighters are trying to fill up the shoes of the Azubu Taipei snipers. The reason being is that I think they are really thirsty for that, the championship, because the only way for the fighters to have or one of the only ways for the fighters to have a shot at Season 4 World Championships is to win the GPL. And I think they really want to show how good they can be, and because of this, I really think that they want to come out of the gate strong. Too bad that their first game was up against the Azubu Taipei Assassins, in which, you know, the TPA being the more veteran team did a fantastic job kind of controlling them.
Well, but coming into this match, some might actually consider AHQ Fighters their favorite, as they have had a very dominating performance during the promotion series in their run to qualifying for the spot in the GPL. And Insidious Gaming will be the first test as one of the top finishers. They actually made the knockout rounds, and they were also knocked out unceremoniously by the Taipei Assassins during the knockout stages.
Yeah, most definitely. And before we actually get into the whole team backgrounds and everything, let's take a look at the players from both these teams.
唢呐过来，老鼠绕后，这时候 GJJ 也知道自己稍微危险了点，所以选择站桩，立刻跟 RD 来互相火。那么兰特是飞到后面把位置进一步的提出来。
要去输出袋子。
是的，哦，刚才这边勾出来，然后被翻，虽然是马上有。靠近也没有往左边行动，哇哈哈！打一样1C3，
闪现
轻的1C3，然后加上石头人撞上来，看起来是一个兰特连跳连砍收头节奏。
15000这个直接灌
的撞起硬杀。
It's going to be uncontested, but they are taking away the initiation. One man only.
Taking out the Kirby low flash over shut down for BBTY. However, the jungler is still alive for the single percent. They have to be a bit careful though. A lot of damage being caused on the SGS right now. They have to fight this Baron. They will take on the Baron, but no, ISG try to turn around the fight. It's going to be Hallelujah in the pit with 4 members. SGS though decides to try and run away. Kylie was taken out. Hallelujah was taken out. much. Equivocal still in a whole bunch of trouble, but Super Mega Left Rocket, there's a clean house. Double kill now for Zappy. Seth has to run for his life, and BB2 still chasing on. The last rocket doesn't kill him, but it's gonna be the Zap, and one more kill. Zappy still looking for the corner.
He got it.
He's chasing. He gets. Flame. And Penny's not going down anytime soon though. And the Solar Flame doesn't let through. This is goal time for ISG now. I feel the Wildbow comes through. Penny jumping onto Rhea Flame. And the Agnes Embrace comes through. Ribena doesn't have any protection at all. Mashira's gonna get jumped on. Demon now is gonna be the one to get locked down here. Everyone dropping one by one like flies from K-Tech.
I think it's going to be that 1 melee minion that Zare's going to try and get. No, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it's the Flash and the Lust.
All right, Summoners, we are in the picks and bans, but we have to adjust the screen a little bit here. All right, there we go. Picks and bans underway.
So Twisted Fate, Nidalee, and Cassidy being banned out by AHQ Fighter. It's interesting that they would ban out 3 mid laners that Mr. Albert should be quite comfortable playing. And LeBlanc, Lee Sin, and Lulu being banned out for the side of Insidious Gaming Legends. So 5 mid lane bans coming in total. And Lee Sin, a jungle ban, being the last and 6th ban.
So this time Cassidy and Lulu will not be, or even LeBlanc for that matter, will not be given away. And we were just talking about this during the break. Why haven't we seen any Gragas play? And you told me that maybe players need to get a little bit more attuned to the changes of the new
This
Gragas.
Gragas is going to the top lane. I'm pretty sure it's top lane or the support. If it's in the top lane, it's because CCB, he is a top laner that likes to play very weird champions in the top lane. We've seen him play a lot of Fiora,
And
a lot
Malphite.
of Malphite as well.
That's right.
And now he's picked up a Gragas for himself. But this means that Equivocal will be able to pick up the Elise for himself, and they should be able to secure a Jax as well, which is what Han is hovering over right now.
That's right. I wasn't too impressed by Han's play yesterday against the Bangkok Titans, but nevertheless, I think he's quite comfortable on that champion. Giving it to him once again should be able to kind of show us how he's able to kind of master and use that champion to help Legends kind of try to beat out HQ Fighters in this in their second game of this season.
Okay, I think this is a little bit of mind games coming in from AHQ Fighters because Gragas is a pick that no one knows where he's going to go. He can, in fact, you might even see him being picked up by Lantier in the jungle as well. So mid lane, jungle, top lane, support, these are all possibilities. Anything except for AD carry. So this might be their strategy in this pick and ban phase. To pick an unknown champion as the first pick, and you don't really know which lane this champion is going into at the start, and they can stand to multiple lanes as well and try and confuse Insidious Gaming Legends. But the trade-off is that they give 2 very strong picks to that of Insidious Gaming Legends. So the question is, how are they going to deal with Jax and Elise?
Yeah, Fresh is still open as well, so if HQ Fighters wants to pick that one up, I wouldn't be surprised. And so is Twitch. I remember in their game against the Azubu Taipei Assassins, RD did a decent job on Twitch. A lot of people were kind of complaining of how his positioning was poor, but I felt that the fighters were just not following up on how his Twitch was being positioned. So they do lock in the Kazakh's pick in the jungle as well as the Thresh as support.
A Morgana here will be a very good choice to support coming from the Insidious Gaming team. Zyra is also another choice that the Insidious Gaming team have been known to play at the same time. They went for a Zyra pick high and early in the priority against the game, in their game against the Bangkok Titans. But in this case, they are hovering over Yasuo. But it is rather interesting because already your jungle and top laners, these are usually your 2 enablers to the Yasuo composition. Already both of these 2 champions do not have knockups. So it looks like they might be going for an interesting composition here. Morgana also 0 knockups onto her. And yes, it will be a Morgana and an AD carry as well. I was thinking perhaps a
Lucian
Jinx
or Twitch.
in this scenario because BBTY is actually prefers playing these two champions, and looks like they will be going for a Twitch composition along the catch potential from the Morgana and Elise. I think that they will be going for a 2-0 push and be going for very aggressive roaming jungle that we saw Taipei Assassins do yesterday.
Yeah, let's see what AHQ Fighters decides to go for. For their final two pickups, they are hovering over the Yasuo and the Corki, and I would love to see Corki under the hands of AHQ Fighters, and the Yasuo here can synergize quite well with the Gragas, especially with his kit on the body slam, on the knockup, sorry, on the body slam and the knockback on the explosive cast.
Okay, so that already is a support being locked in the form of trash. So the Gragas now is either a top laner or mid laner, or perhaps even jungler as well, depending on where the Kha'Zix goes. But assuming Lantia's playing Kha'Zix in the jungle, Gragas is now set on either top or mid lane, and we see the Yasuo being locked in as well. So we have Yasuo and Gragas. I was saying that Anivia would be a possible pick in this scenario, and they can play a very strong isolation comp, aiming to pick fights, knowing their opponent might be going for a 2-0 and being able to out-contest them in those situations in the jungle. But nonetheless, they are going for Yasuo, and the enabler in this case will be Gragas. So it depends on where the Yasuo will be going that will be determining where the Gragas will be sent to.
Yeah, and now we have on the side of Insidious Gaming Legends, the final pick, which will most definitely be a mid lane pickup. What will Slayer decide to go for his team? Will it be Akali?
I think Orianna here, once again, Orianna of this compositions is a very strong option, especially against that of a Kha'Zix and the Yasuo. The amount of zone potential that you bring in for your team as an Orianna, Rihaven also, or now also known as Slayer, plays a very strong Orianna as well. Ziggs and Twisted Fate are also strong options in this situation, but I would feel that if they were to go for Orianna, that would be the best choice. But looks like they are going to hover over Ziggs in this case, and that might be the lock-in. So now they are hovering over the Orianna, and they will be locking in. So this is a wombo combo. Insidious Gaming here, they have a very, very potent team composition in terms of finding the fights that they want to go for. I will have to say, if they go for a 2-0 and do what Saigon Jokers were doing earlier today, find those picks the moment those buffs comes up, they should be able to take a very solid lead against this AHQ team. But on the side of AHQ, they have Gragas, Yasuo, and Kha'Zix. This is a very strong isolation composition that relies on the explosive cast hitting and separating a multiple members of Insidious Gaming Legends. So the thing about the invades coming from Insidious Gaming Legends is that they have to be able to spot out CC in the situations and not get completely blown up by the explosive cast.
Yeah, I really like how these two compositions will interact with each other. On one hand, the AHQ Fighters want to blow everyone away, whether using the explosive cast or the wind from Yasuo, and then try to allow Kha'Zix to get that isolation damage, get those pick potential coming in from the Thresh, from that single target burst damage from Lucian that he can put out as well. On the other hand though, we have for the side for Legends, IG Legends, a team composition in which they want everyone to group together. If HQ Fighters decides to fight the Dragon Pit or the Baron Pit or in the choke point, they can go in with the Jax counter-strike and the initiate from the Shockwave, and a perfect setup for the rat-a-tat-tat on the Twitch. So I'm going to be so extremely excited to see these two teams kind of play out. It does seem like they have gotten what they needed in terms of the team composition. You were a little bit worried that it's like, oh my goodness, are they going to pick a Ziggs again after what the Bangkok Titans did? And I saw your face light up that when they went back to Orianna, hovered over it and locked it in.
Okay, the Ziggs in this situation wouldn't have been as bad because Ziggs will provide them very solid wave clear, but setting that up against a Yasuo isn't really the best of ideas because he has the wind wall to kind of zone out your bouncing bombs to protect the wave. But I would have to say though, what's going for the Insidious Gaming team is that they have a lot of options come to the mid to lane game. If both teams are rather even, and even then they also have a lot of comeback potential in terms of team fighting as well. They have the Jax option in terms of split pushing, which is one thing that I feel that they will have the advantage over their opponents in this game.
I really like the pick potential coming out from IG Legends as well. From the Dark Binding to the Cocoon on Equivocal here, it's just so strong. And if they manage to catch HQ Fighters or a member out of position, they can easily collapse, especially the mobility on both Elise as well as Jax.
And now we see AHQ, they are actually the ones grouping around the top side, so they will be playing Insidious Gaming Legends, Insidious Gaming's game, and they will be trying to go for this invade here. So we will be seeing the 2-0 push from both of these teams. So it's likely that we see the 2-0 push from both of these teams happen over here. Another question is the option of going for the second buff. Will we see it happen?
Okay, some invade there by AHQ Fighters, so let's take a look at where the wards have been placed. So 2 deep wards in the red side jungle. IG Legends now just kind of hovering or like dancing around the bottom half of the map, it does signal to me that with that ward being placed there, they are going for a delayed invade, or at least a late invade into the jungle. They are, all 5 members are camping in that brush now, and it is very likely that they will be going in for the red buff.
Oh, this is very interesting. Both of these teams, they will be trying to contest for the blue side red buff in this situation. And now it's 144 on the timer. And Insidious Gaming, they are moving in for the buff contest. We actually see CCB backing away. This is a 5-on-4. AHQ, they spot them out. And they have no choice but to back away from this situation.
Yeah, they will. Oh, are they going to try to fight this one out though? Death Sentence barely missing there. Now the red buff aggro will be dancing back and forth. Let's see who gets a smite out. Lantier is the one who gets the buff start. So here we go. HQ Fighters get what they want. They managed to get the red buff and they delay a whole bunch of time on the side of ISG Legends.
That was a very interesting gambit coming in from HQ Fighters to go and contest for the buff, because if Insidious Gaming, that was a very high risk, high reward decision from them, and it definitely paid off, because now not only have they set Equivocal behind, they
Ooh,
also have
Dark
shut
Binding
down.
and the Death Sentence will land. BBTY takes a whole bunch of damage. Yasera just putting his body right in front. He's going to take a lot of damage in return now. Zappy puts on the exhaust, misses the Dark Binding, gets a flash out. First blood goes to RD. HQ Fighters take the early lead.
And now that is the potency of the Trash and Lucian lane. And because RD, he went to lane slightly earlier, and as a result, he hit level 2 slightly before the usual time. And that caught off the Insidious Gaming Legends team by surprise. And Zappy and BBTY, as a result, they took way too much damage than necessary. And what I was saying was that the early game gambit going for the buff steal, not only did it secure a lead for the jungle, it also shut down the plans of Insidious Gaming to go for the 2-0 push.
Yeah, this is very dangerous. I mean, HQ Fighters obviously taking a thing or two from the HQ main squad, because this is a lane in which both Green Tea as well as... Why am I choking on the name now all of a sudden? Help me out here.
Which team again?
HQ main team. Green Tea and...
Green Tea and Garnet Devil.
Yes, that's right. Green Tea and Garnet Devil. This is our favorite lane. I mean, Lucian and Thresh, this lore lane. Now RD and Yasera is using it, managing to get first blood, understanding the amount of damage that he can hit, and RD hitting that level 2 first, being able to kind of burst down ISG Legends.
And I have to say that this is very smart from AHQ. This is them understanding their opponents. Insidious Gaming Legends, they're a team, they are very good with this early game shenanigans. And this decision to go for this high risk, high reward play is definitely going to put a very large wrench in their plans. Because they plan to go for this 2-0 push, set up for the 7-minute invade, the 12-minute invade, and now as a result, they have defaulted to normal lanes. And Insidious Gaming will have to reassess their early game plans.
Yeah, that's right. So from that one, we see AHQ Fighters actually taking a little bit of a lead in terms of gold from the first blood, and of course RD here just completely bullying out BBTY in the lane. He's about, let's see, 15 CS ahead of his lane opponent now. Equivocal coming in from the side though. Will he be able to land a Cocoon? Double buff here. Uses the Relentless Pursuit easily to walk away from that one.
Actually, the ward just spotted him out just as he was approaching, and the sweeper actually just missed it and say expired. So there must be a little bit of confusion for Equivocal. It looked like he made a bad gang there, but actually the HQ Fighter team already had vision of that all along.
Yeah, let's see what they will be doing from here on out. HQ Fighters now having that goal lead, and at the same time, you know, the lanes are being pushed up on all sides. Death Sentence will not hit there, but Fighters now have a clear advantage in a lot of these lanes, so much so that Lantier can safely farm in his own jungle, and Equivocal's presence throughout all these lanes won't make such a huge impact just yet.
Okay, this is a little tip about the situation we just saw in the bottom. Sarah was actually moving forward. He feigned the hook onto Zappy and actually threw it to his BBTI. So this is what you can do as a Morgana player in solo queue. What you can do is you hover your mouse over BBTY, hold on to alternate, and then the moment the hook comes out, you judge the direction and either let go of alternate or press or continue to hold on to alternate and press E depending on where the hook is flying to either black shoot yourself or black shoot your AD carry accordingly.
Oh, some pro tips coming out from J-Storm here. We will see if Zappy can land those clutch black shields to prevent a lot of the crowd control damage coming out from this bottom lane. They are already behind in terms of a kill and at the same time a whole bunch of creep score. So the moment RD decides to go back, he will have a significant item advantage, and he's not pursuing it just yet because he knows that both his lane counterpart Ysera on Fresh, as well as his skills on Lucian, he can definitely try to zone out BBTY and Zappy. Ooh, BBTY just took a whole bunch of damage in the bottom lane.
Definitely indeed. Now this decision from AHQ Fighters, this decision to disrupt the game plan of Insidious Gaming Legends have definitely been working very well in their favor, as we see all 3 lanes now working well in their favor. But I think the turning point of the game will come the moment either jungler decides to visit the mid lane.
And not a lot of jungle presence just yet. Lantier is actually camping there. We might see a gank. Oh, top lane though. There we go. Han actually going down, forcing the leap strike and the flash. He actually leap strike to a ward there.
So actually, he was forced to use his flash to get out of there, but that was the explosive cast being blown up by CCB. So this Gragas top lane, it looks like he will be building. I think the Rubik Crystal should be going to Haunting Guys in this case. But now there's a lot more damage being dropped on the BBTY as he returns with some damage of his own.
Yeah, every time Ysera lands that death sentence, Zappy has been just a fraction of a second slow not to be able to get that one. Once again, the death sentence landing. BBTY, nice body block though by Zappy. Equivocal on the side. Let's see if they will be able to get a counter kill back. There we see Ysera getting hit up by the cocoon, and now the culling coming out. Equivocal now trying to put as much damage as possible. Dark Binding is not going to land again. And there we go. The death sentence being dodged out by Equivocal's rappel up into the sky. RD and Ysera just completely dominating this lane. No matter how many times Equivocal decides to come, they can easily escape from his ganks.
So AHQ, they have cracked Insidious Gaming Legends. They have identified their bottom lane as the weak point, and they are definitely punishing them in this situation. Not only did we see a solo kill from RD earlier on, now we see them constantly bullying out the Insidious Gaming Legends team. Not only do they have to call Equivocal down, the ganks from Equivocal have not been successful thus far.
Yeah, this is indeed interesting. So HQ Fighters now just doing so much work here in the bottom lane. RD and Ysera have yet to back off. In addition to that, BBTY is just waiting, finally manages to get the Bilge Water Cutlass. If RD and Ysera don't back off now and they continue to stay in the lane, BBTY will have that significant item advantage ahead of his lane opponents.
I have to say though, the moment that this game leaves the laning phase, HQ's goal lead will stop to increase, because in that scenario, Insidious Gaming's Legends composition will start to kick into place and will start to help them gain the advantage that they need to close the goal gap between them and AHQ Fighters, simply because they have more options as compared to their counterparts in terms of rotations as well as map movements.
Oh, definitely. And look at that CCB here with his, drunken brawling style, just using that auto attack enhancer to deal a little bit of damage onto Han, and the body slam there for some additional harass.
But now Mr. Albus in the mid lane, we see him picking up some creeps, and this is what I feel could have been done a little bit better by Insidious Gaming. They should have stuck to their plan of trying to find picks deep into their opponent's jungle. They should have put forward Zappy, they should have put the mid laner down and tried to find a pick in their opponent's way, but because they had a time onto that, they should have tried to use that window of opportunity to try and get themselves back into the game. It would have been quite an opportunity, because losing farm time because the AD carry would be zoned out in the bottom lane, but it would be one way that they can try to get back into the game, because if they get the jungler, they get the buff, if they catch the mid lane and rotating down carelessly in that process as well, it could translate into a dragon, and if they get that, it will be worth.
Speaking about losing out some CS here, J-Storm, IGL Legends now not doing at all well in any of their lanes. 77 CS compared to the 59 CS in the top lane. CCB is definitely ahead of Han. In addition to that, in the mid lane, we have Albus, 97 CS compared to the 84 that Slayer has. Actually gets knocked up there by the second win. And of course, in the bottom lane, as we've kind of focused all throughout this game number 2, 93 CS to the 57 CS, and the turret as well 10 minutes into this game.
So AHQ Fighters, they are showing that we are the real deal, although we are a new Taiwanese team to the scene. We're not going to show the same levels of insecurity that the Yori Flash Wolves had the previous split. they're bringing the game, they're bringing the noise, and they are bringing the game to one of the strong finishes of the previous
Yes,
season.
Sarah. Oh, Equivocal wanted to go for the cocoon onto RD there. Dark Binding actually lands. Will there be any follow-up? It doesn't seem like that's the case. The ward just gets taken down easily by both Ysera and the double auto attack, the Light Slinger. And now Han in a whole bunch of trouble under the turret. Will CC be able to get this one? Takes a turret shot to the face. Han unable to do anything, has to stay under the confines of his own turret. CCB will just walk away from this one. Ooh, gets the auto attack down. Will the burst damage be enough though? Han unable to capitalize on that kill. That turret dive though. Ooh, they're going in. Oh, explosive cast actually knocks Han away from this one. CCB was looking for the kill, but they are going to go in and try to take down this turret.
I have to say that the AHQ fighter team, their rotations and the way that they've been controlling the map, well, actually BBTY gets a kill in the bottom lane.
Oh, BBTY actually managing to survive this one. Ysera needs to get away with his life. Can he get a counter kill in? Teleport coming in from CCB. Will BBTY go down? Oh, they're actually going to ignore him for a moment. Zappy should be taken down here by Albis. And now BBTY managing to get away from this one. The rotations coming in from Slayer, gets the shockwave onto Elvis and Ignite. One more attack will be enough. Slayer and CCB dueling it out now. And there we see the Cocoon slightly missing out. So it's going to be a 1-for-2 trade in favor of ISG Legends.
Well, that was...
Oh! There we go, the flash body slam into the Drunken Rage. Auto attack allows CCB to pick up the kill. Equivocal trying to chase down the Gragas there. But that's not going to be the case. So overall, at the end of the day, it's going to be a 2-for-2 trade and fantastic play from this Gragas top lane.
Well, CCB, it looks like he will actually be going for a Raw of Ages in this scenario. And let's take a look at a replay of this fight. Now, this was the initial kill. Actually, we've missed that already. So now BBTY is extremely low. Nonetheless, AHQ, they feel that they have the stronger engagement in this situation because they feel that Orianna is out of position. So the teleport comes in from CCB. They come in, they engage very hard into the fight. And this is Slayer coming in with a very clutch command shockwave. But this is the part I felt that he could have played this slightly better. First of all, that command attack went a little bit too far. He couldn't get the command dissonance as a follow-up.
Watch this.
And here comes the amazing play from CCB. He knew that CCB took way too much damage from those minions. As a result, he dropped way too low. He identified lethal range, flashed in, and went in for the kill.
That was... The amount of burst damage that the Drunken Rage and the Body Slam can do together is pretty crazy. I mean, ever since they changed the Drunken Rage to become an auto attack enhancer, Gragas players have that additional way to kind of try to burst someone down.
So CCB making this Gragas look actually pretty strong in the top lane so far. We might actually see a resurgence of this in the GPL. Once again, Gragas made his debut in the top lane from the Saigon Fantastic 5. It is now very interesting to see the Taiwanese teams play an AP version of it in the top lane as compared to his tanky counterpart that we saw the Saigon Fantastic 5 play in the Spring Split.
And you know, Drunken Rage does a percentage of your maximum health, so... Oh, wow! Equivocal actually gets hit by the death sentence, will force the smite out of it just to prevent HQ fighters from stealing away the blue buff. Albis and CCB in the mid lane, trying to push that one down as much as possible. That's gonna deal some damage to the second tier turret. But nevertheless, it's just gonna be ISG Legends rotating to the mid lane and defending this push coming out from HQ fighters.
Okay, this is the setup that Insidious Gaming needs to look for in this buff contest. BBTY should be using his invisibility and moving to the side of HQ fighters that is furthest away from Yasuo, so that their main assassin for that Twitch, the Sneaky Rat, is as far away from him as possible and trying to burst down either Ysera or RD, depending on how far away they are from the Yasuo. The follow-up should be Sappy in position to be able to drop either Backshoe or Dark Binding to support him, and Equivocal to zone out the rest of the team in those scenarios so that they hold on to the buff while they can create a pick using BBTY.
Most definitely. So HQ fighters now just commanding lead 15 minutes into this game. 4.2 thousand gold ahead of their opponent. And there we have Equivocal getting caught up here. Will we be able to get away? The Counter-Strike lands on all three people, but Han needing to flash away from this one. Equivocal with a double buff. He is going to go down. Tries to saunter back and forth, but that is not enough. Now double buff on Albis. Slayer joins the fight. They are now having to put up this defense at the tier 2. 4 members are trying to collapse. Han goes in, gets the win. Oh, wow. 3-man shockwave, but that is not enough to save their life. Ysera actually lands the death sentence onto Slayer. It is kill after kill for HQ Fighters.
Well, this is looking very daily from HQ Fighters. They have the killer instinct on paper. Insidious Gaming, they have the stronger composition, but HQ Fighter simply with the stronger rotator potatoes in this game and simply outmaneuvering Insidious Gaming legends on as well. Oh, RD! My goodness! Instantly melting BBTY the moment you felt he hit lethal in range.
That was just RD knowing how much damage he could do to BBTY, went in for the flash, and then just used the Lightbringer to completely destroy the health bars of the Rat.
Well, nonetheless, things looking very grim for Insidious Gaming Legends. They are behind 7,000 gold, in fact 6,800 at this point of time. And HQ Fighters, although I did give the mid-game advantage to the Insidious Gaming team, HQ Fighters, they are the one to show a more proactive and stronger rotations in this game. So despite them having less options as compared to Insidious Gaming Legends, they are using whatever that they have and executing simply in a more crisp, in a stronger manner. And Insidious Gaming, their responses so far hasn't been good enough.
It's kind of scary to think about the mid-game power. 17 minutes in this game that HQ Fighters has. CCB on Gragas, Rod of Ages was completed quite some time ago, and he just picked up a needlessly large rod. In addition to that, Albis on Yasuo already completing his Infinity Edge and Static Shift. And finally, of course, RD, we just saw how much damage he can output with the Bloodthirster. And once he completes the Trinity Force, he's going to become such a terror for IG Legends to deal with.
Okay, actually, CCB, he picked up the Rod of Ages 2 minutes ago. So that will be fully stacked up at about 25 minutes. And that's when Gragas will be fully scaled up and reach the maximum gold efficiency of that item. So, I mean, this is usually with other Rod of Ages champions such as Anivia and Rice, which rely on dealing the damage as the Rod of Ages scales up. But in this case, the Rod of Ages is only supplementary to Gragas' tankiness. So he doesn't really need all the gold effectiveness, as CCB's job is the enabler to drop the explosive cast when teamfights are happening. So they will not necessarily be needing to wait for the 25-minute mark before you see CCB group together with the rest of the team and make use of the explosive cast to wreck the Insidious Gaming team.
IG Legends now are really in the back foot, so J-Storm, what do you think they are able to do? Because I think Han can scale pretty well into the late game, and so will BBTY on the Twitch, but if they cannot prevent HQ Fighters from, taking even more objectives, it's going to be a very uphill battle for them to face. Death Sentence will land! Han takes a whole bunch of damage, and I don't think the turret defense here will be successful. Oh, a 4-man shockwave, but the thing is that Slayer got completely knocked away with the explosive cast. Han will go down at the same time. 2 kills for the side of HQ Fighters. BBTY needing to flash that win there before the last breath from Albis managing to land onto him as well.
That was actually a mistake from BBTY because Mr. Albis just used his last breath onto Slayer in the scenario. So BBTY should have noted that was down and he didn't have to use his flash. But nonetheless, HQ Fighter, they will be going for a very aggressive Baron over here.
Equivocal is still up on the side of IG Legends. He is within range. And let's see if Equivocal can get in onto this one. Wow! The collapse onto the support there. They go in. Will Equivocal be able to get a smite out? And there we see Han joining in the fight. The Baron is still ticking. They want to go in for the execute. Albis turns around, flashes away, gets the kill onto the jungler. And this is just going to be HQ Fighters easily going for this Baron attempt here. Oh my goodness! Whoa, that was such a close steal, and never mind RD managing to get the last auto attack. HQ Fighters managing to secure the dragon. BBTY was just an inch away from stealing that one right under the noses of the fighters.
There was a very good Baron control coming from HQ Fighters, although it was a tad bit aggressive from them. First of all, they managed to pick up Zappy at the start of the fight. Actually, will we be going to replay of that? So it looks like we will not be having a replay of that. But so let me run through what happened, okay? HQ Fighters, they were prepared to turn around. The moment the hook landed onto Zappy, they immediately jumped out of the pit, picked up Zappy, secured the money in the bank. And then after the Equivocal, they knew that he was going to try for a steal. But because Death Sentence as well as Flay was already down the side of Ysera, The moment they saw him pop the repel, they just backed away from the Baron and then forced Equivocal, because the splash was already down, to drop into the Baron pit. And the moment he did so, they just backed away from Baron, and we saw Equivocal take 3 or 4 Baron shots, dropping him way too low, so that RD could just simply turn around, drop the piercing light, and pick him up himself.
Yeah, that's right, a piercing light there, just doing a whole bunch of damage. And Equivocal, I mean, the plan was there, they had the time, and it was quite a risky Baron play coming up for HQ Fighters, but they really played it out extremely well. I want to comment on Slayer's item choice here, having the Tear of the Goddess, you know, stacking up. I mean, what's the idea here? His shockwaves aren't going to be doing a whole bunch of damage, especially 20 minutes into the game with only 8 Zhonya's and a Tear of the Goddess. And he can't make those high impact shockwaves that IG Legends really need now.
I think that the plan here is for Insidious Gaming, they're hoping the HQ Fighters, they do not realize how far ahead they are at this point of time, make the same mistakes as the initial main HQ team had in the earlier days in the GPL, and that is have problem closing out games. As of yet, none of the inhibitors have gone down so far, and Insidious Gaming, they feel that if they can stall this game out to the 15-minute mark, another half an hour, they will have a chance, and that's why they went for the Tear of the Goddess in this situation.
Oh, I mean, that is really wishful thinking there from the Insidious Gaming Legends side. Because HQ Fighters, 20 minutes into this game, with the Baron buff, they have no more outer turrets or even inner turrets to pick up. All that is left are the inhibitor turrets, and you can, you know, bet a horse on it, because HQ Fighters will be trying to take down those inhibitor turrets one by one.
I have to say though, going up against this composition, it looks really, really scary. There's a lot of cash coming from Morgana, Elise, as well as the shockwave into the Rat-a-tat-tat to watch out for. So sieging these turrets, HQ Fighter, they might not have the right plan in terms of how are we going to approach this, and if they decide to dilly-dally around, we might actually see a potential comeback from Insidious Gaming Legends, as unlikely as it is.
Yeah, I mean, actually I think the HQ Fighters definitely have a plan here, because they're split up to a three-man or 3-lane push, sorry. So having the catch potential, yes, it might be potent on the side of IG Legends, but they will never catch 5 members together in a single place.
What they need to do right now is use Morgana as well as Elise to catch the members of AHQ as they rotate between these lanes. Actually, oh, accident win while coming in from the stairs.
There we go, the first turret, or the first inhibitor turret will go down. It's going down to the bot lane now. Explosive cast did miss though, but HQ Fighters here just looking to try to pick up this inhibitor. Can IG Legends launch a defense? Equivocal gets caught out a little bit there by the death sentence. HQ Fighters are not backing off. They still have the Baron buff ticking onto them. IG Legends cannot lose this inhibitor though. But they are.
There we go, one last auto attack. Oh, a little bit of hesitance down there.
Yeah.
Finally, Sarah picks it up for himself. No, that's the first inhibitor down. The second inhibitor tower has gone down already. AHQ Fighters are doing this extremely methodically. The Baron buff just expires onto them, and Han decides to jump in for a little engagement.
This is just so dangerous. Oh, Equivocal gets chunked down so extremely low. He's able to get away from this one, but HQ Fighters are not letting up. Zappy hasn't really been landing those Dark Bindings this game. They are going to continue to push. The super minion waves are coming in right now as we speak. They're going to start knocking onto this Nexus turret here. Oh, Artie is on a killing spree. Slayer has to pop his Zhonya. Zappy goes into Flash Soul Shackles, and there we see the last breath being used. Shockwave only lands onto one person. Already gets a double kill now, and this should be game for HQ Fighters. Elvis will go down, I believe, to BBTY, but BBTY, you have nowhere to run. The shutdown does go to him, but it's a quadra kill for RD.
Only RD was my fantasy LCS team at this point of time, but AHQ Fighters, they will be picking up this game for themselves. 20,000 gold, 17 to 6 kills, and that was a very dominating performance. 25-minute victory for HQ Fighters.
Now that was an extremely clean game for them. Right from the get-go, RD and Ysera completely outplayed BBTY as well as his lane counterpart Zappy, and that just kind of snowballed it from there. Equivocal constantly came down to try to gank for them, but it did not work out.
Here's my quick breakdown of it. Insidious Gaming Legends, they relied a lot on the early game shenanigans to get a hit, and AHQ Fighters, they went for a high risk, high reward gambit that completely shut that down. And as a result, Insidious Gaming Legends, they kind of lost their footing, they kind of lost their game plan, and as a result, the entire momentum of the game went into the hands of AHQ Fighters, and Insidious Gaming Legends, they couldn't really pull together the mid-game plan and execute it well enough to get themselves back into the game.
Yeah, I mean, that was just the story of the game right there for you. So it is the end of game number 2. We will be moving on to game number 3 after the break, but don't forget, stay tuned because we will have Marchi Esports versus Insidious Gaming